This is the project, the one that was here last Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. When we saw them, was over there, the last 10 years. They were. No, they just. It takes what for them and they say to these guys, because it's safe for these days. It's hard to build that now. He's not very big, but you don't have these. Yeah, it's hard to deteriorate. Of course, there's probably a big difference between playing banks and playing. You really got
All right, 6 o'clock. Can I get everybody to stand, please, for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Thank you. I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order. First item is the consent agenda. Did anybody on the council have any questions on the consent agenda? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second.
Mill,
Aye.
Upshaw,
Aye.
Ekman. You hear us, Kathy? Kathy, you have to put *6 to unmute yourself, I believe. She's on the call. She's on the call, but she's muted. I don't think I can
Can she
unmute her.
do a hand signal or something? A thumbs up, a thumbs down.
That'd work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I can't unmute her. I mean, she's have to hit *6 on her phone. I don't know if she can.
Can we call her?
She's on her phone.
Oh, can she give like a hand signal or does it have to
She's
be?
like, it's just a phone. call. She doesn't
Oh,
want
I
her.
gotcha. I can't hear.
Yeah. One, Shields.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. Now on to comments from the public. This section is for anything not on the agenda, just so you all know if anyone's here to discuss ball fields, which I assume most of you are not here for the Roots Fest. Unfortunately, you're probably here for the ball fields. If you have something that you'd like to say, we'll have a section for that later, okay? If it's talking about ball fields. So does anyone have anything that's not on the agenda? Okay. On to new business. And we have the Roots Festival back. And we have Lima here. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. We haven't been here for 2 years, so it's kind of nice to get to talk about it again. So we've asked for the use of the Park Square and street closure, so This will be the 33rd annual, not counting the last 2 years that we didn't have it, so. Another little bit of trivia, I actually called the 13th year, I can't remember if I called it the 12th or the 14th 2 years in a row, but I have a thing about 13, so just a little roots lower there. But anyway, the dates are August 26th and 27th. Live music, we're the East Central State Barbecue Championship. It's a sanctioned barbecue competition. We have arts and crafts. We have food vendors, games and rides. Headliners this year, Friday night is the Daniel McCole Band, and Saturday night is Bernard Allison. We have a committee that is made up. Some of the committee members wear 2 hats. I am currently the president and also the production manager. My name is Lee Mott, by the way. Vice president is Gary Patillo. He's also considered one of the founders of the festival. Our treasurer is Christy Johnson. She also heads up the volunteers. Our secretary is Tammy Johnson. She takes care of the games and rides. Our director of barbecue is John Smell. Director of marketing, Taylor Mott. Director of arts and crafts, Lindsay Maxwell. Director of hospitality, Tammy Mott. Food vendor, Jamie Farmer. We have a mercantile at the festival. Judy Doherty heads that up. We have an additional security team of 10 security people that we actually hire, and that's head up by Bill Sanders. And our environmental technician, our trash man, is Joshua Furnish. We're a not-for-profit organization. All the monies that are made at the festival are either put back in the festival or donated to scholarships or any other need in the community. We've done things for Christmas for families. We've planted some trees in the park square. So always looking for things to do with that. We're under the wing of the 501c3 of the Miami County Community Foundation. So if you're looking for a way to donate money and get help on your taxes, you can actually funnel it through that foundation. We have expenses over $100,000, just right at 105 this year, looks like. We have over 200 volunteers. We have 100 at least local sponsorship, which the transient guest tax is a big sponsor for our group, and along with all the other local sponsors, over $30,000 is donated to the event, which is amazing. And it's on track again this year. It looks like the same. I think some people in 2 years forgot what they used to give, and some gave more, some gave a little less, but it's just amazing that sponsorship continues to be there. We do 2 scholarships a year. The Blue Moon Scholarship is given to students that are going on in the arts. It doesn't have to be necessarily music. It can be any of the arts, dance, photography. The layout for this year is the same. We'll have 2 gates, the northwest corner and the southeast corner of the park square will be the entry gates. We always try to create off center sidewalks and the corner sidewalks so people can get to the outside of the park square to get to our square merchants. We know that we interrupt their business for a couple of days. So we do offer them a free space in the park if they're not wanting to do something on their sidewalk. This year, we actually are doing online tickets for the first time. I know that we're a little bit old school, so it's actually working out pretty well. So you can buy your tickets online, get to the gate, we scan either your mobile device or your printed ticket, and we're also going to put a wristband on you too at the gate. You can buy tickets at the gate. And you can also again buy tickets, the two-day advance ticket at local banks here in Paola. We have quite a few actual crafters this year. Some interesting crafters. A lot of times you get like a buy sell crafter that's just buying something and reselling it. These are actually handcrafted arts and crafts people this year, so that's nice. We used to do a full-blown carnival many years ago, and we will have games and rides. We do fun services, which has done a good job for us. They're a little bit safer than the big carnival, and just kind of overall better games and rides for the kids. The Paola Police Force has always been, we hope that they're willing to be present. They always provide safer for our gates, our patrons at the gates, and it's very much appreciated. In addition, I did talk about, we will have a team of 10 that'll be at gates. A group of 10 additional security teams, no firearms, just security shirts, and just there to help out patrons as needed. Of course, with COVID, there's especially the backstage area, we're going to wear masks anytime we're dealing with artists. We plan on doing a couple of extra, we already did wash basins at bathrooms, but we're planning on doing a couple of additional wash basins so you can wash your hands. Providing hand sanitizer at the gates, hand sanitizer backstage. So those are just some of the precautions we're going to take, and just remind people, you know, we're not out of the COVID yet. And so it's really, as you all know, it's just made things a lot different and kind of difficult, and but I think it's made us stronger maybe. So we'll just learn from it and try to do our best to keep people safe. So that's really all I have. I could go through the lineup, but you can go to rootsfestival.org and look at the bands. And it's just, you know, it started out, the reason the festival was developed was to bring families together. It was a group of people, younger people had young families, and they kept meeting at funerals, and you know how you'll tell someone like, you know, we really need to get our families together. We need to get together and see each other. Well, that's why the festival was started, and it's really kind of become that. And I hope that it just continues that same, to get that many people together and not have trouble is, I mean, it's a testament to the community. I know people that are from out of state come back annually, and they just comment about how friendly people are in Paola. And they'll sit next to someone, and now they've become friends. And of course, we hope that they bring friends back to Paola and shop at our businesses and you know, put money back into Paola. So other than that, so it's actually done what the founders set out to do. It's kind of become like a big reunion. And so to have your family, get your family together, and you know, in such a crazy, the world's so crazy, it's just nice maybe just to step back and concentrate on just having some fun and enjoy the music and the barbecue. If you've never been to a barbecue contest, a sanctioned barbecue contest, I always recommend that you take a walk down through Friday evening and just get a feel for what's going on there, because you'll see a little bit of everything from a small smoker to a giant stainless steel, very nice smoker. And I always recommend, just if you look pitiful, they'll beat you, and they'll probably give you something cold to drink too. So, but that's really all I have. If you have any questions or.
Do you have any questions? Thank you, Lee. I know people are excited. It's gonna be back.
Thank you guys. Thanks for all your support from the city. Kurt, all your group.
I know, Kirk, you guys usually try to mow Wednesday, is that right? Or, because I remember a couple of years ago,
Don't
people
put
get
your
early
chairs
on chairs. To remind people not to put their chairs out till Thursday.
And try to do some posting. On Facebook.
Yeah.
To
A lot of people from out of town are always amazed that people put their chairs out for days and people just leave them there, just leave them sitting there.
a couple of festivals ago, my parents were actually the first to put their chairs out. After I had been telling them like, you can't put the chairs out too early.
People excited. All right. Moving on to phase one, Wallace Park ball fields. And the first thing we're gonna discuss is consider waiving the bidding process for phase one construction.
So, in the purchasing policy, it actually reads, if the goods or services involve construction of a public improvement, the governing body may waive the sealed bid process if the governing body determines the waiver is in the city's best interest. We discussed that it is more of a design build, is what we were trying to go for. In January, at the January meeting, we approved for the survey services, the geotechnical and the phase one design with the understanding that if we go with them, with Mammoth for the construction, then the $54,000 will be rolled into the phase two for the design. If not, we would pay the additional $54,000 in part ways. So that is what it is on the agenda for tonight.
Do you have any questions on that?
I have something I'd like to say. I'm going to read from the Kansas Municipalities Handbook. This is the Bible that the cities of Kansas go by. And in here, it says, stick to the rules. While waiving formalities may help one bidder, it could also discourage other contractors from competing in the city in the future and expose the city to charges of favoritism and anti-competitive conduct prohibited by state and federal antitrust laws. Waiving the bidding rules selectively may expose the city to liability and reduce competition in the future. And then from our own purchasing, this is a Paola purchasing policy. It reads here that the acquisition of goods and services by or on behalf of the city of Paola, its departments, officials, and authorized agents should be made in a manner and method which provides for the prudent expenditure of city's funds, provides for maximum protection of the taxpayer, prevents waste, prevents waste, conflict, and corruption, provides for equal access and opportunity in an open and competitive environment to all suppliers with regard to factors related to quality, cost, and availability. And then on down, it says the city reserves the right to award bids on a professional basis to companies. They're more or less saying that it's good to select companies that are in your city if they have the low bid or a near low bid. And if not in the city, then the county. And the other thing is when you put something out for bid, it should be put in the local paper. This is all in the Kansas Municipalities book. You should advertise in your local paper, and you should send out advertisement. And there's also a website called drexeltech.com that most contractors and engineers look at. And that's how you advertise on something you want bids on. And when it's a project that's almost $3 million, I think it should be put out for bid.
Okay, thank you.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, but didn't we go out for bid initially with this to 3 different contractors and one refused to bid, and we got a bid from Mammoth and a bid from Confluence at the time?
Yeah, we had a bid from Confluence, Mammoth, and one other one that didn't submit.
And the third one was more of a local.
And how long ago was that?
It was one.
That was at the January 20th meeting that everyone reviewed. and
That's when we did the geotech, voted on the geotech. But, we didn't, as far as I'm concerned, we didn't properly advertise it. I don't think we advertised it in the local paper. I don't think it was put on the website where contractors and engineers go to. So, I just don't think it was the right way to have done it.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay. If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive the sealed bid process according to the city of Paola purchasing policy, section 5 under procedures.
All second.
Pam,
Aye.
Upshaw,
Aye.
Shields,
No,
you want to try Kathy? Good,
Did we lose? Is she still?
she's still on here.
Would be tempted to ask her if you could just call in on your phone.
I did, a few times.
Okay. Okay. We can move forward. All right, now we're gonna discuss. Consider an agreement with Mammoth for phase 1 Wallace Park ball field construction. Was there anybody that wanted to address the council on this item?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. I would just ask that you state your name and your address for the minutes and then.
Without even looking at it.
That's impressive. And then if you would keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Okay, thank you.
My name is Mike Welder. I live here in Paola, 306 North Walnut. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the American Legion. Wanted to address some concerns that we have over what we view as the final phase 1 plans and the parking that is going to affect us greatly. The way this is drawn up. We, in the past, have donated land to the city, all the swimming pool area land, and of course, this new ball field, and somewhere in excess of, somewhere around 50 acres of land that we've donated over the years. And through the course of meetings over several years, concerning the ball fields and getting the planning done, we really emphasized that we needed to protect our parking. And we really felt like the city responded to us, Jay Wheeland and stuff when he was manager, that our parking would be protected. And the reason I'm here tonight again is to express to you our concern over the way this parking looks now. The plan calls for the existing parking lot to be extended through the batting cages and approximately, it looks like probably about 75 feet of space taken up. And the problem then becomes access into that parking area. It appears that parking is going to come in from the west off of Silver Street and then some from the south up the right-of-way alley. But everybody has to go around the Legion to get into that ball field parking the way it's set up. On any given night, bingo night, we may have 124 people playing bingo. We can have 80 to 90 cars in that parking lot. And I can tell you from years of experience, that entire lot can be blocked off. What I see happening is we have a ball game going on, an early game. People come in on a Friday night, get parked back there. If they park in that area and not take up our spaces, they get blocked off in there. And we're going to have some confrontations on how they get out of there. Because our bingo does not end until sometime 9:30 at night. And we see that as a real problem.
Couldn't we do something like a bingo parking only for these nights?
Well, we asked for, part of the talks we had were some signage and stuff. The problem then becomes who's going to police it. Just an example, on a Friday night, here this last month, there was a ball game on bingo night. The parking lots were full, even the south parking lot that exists now. We have people parking in our grass, in our driveways, ran over our trees. And it's just not right for that to happen. We don't want to get to a point where we have to try to tow vehicles and I mean, you can see where that's going to go if that happens. It's not going to go well. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And the other thing is that if there's some documentation of us signing over this land, we don't have it. And we would really appreciate a copy of that if the city has one and can get it to us. So that we know that going through the county and talking to the county, that land has been turned over to the city. We just would like some documentation for our files. And along with presenting what I perceive as a problem, it's always been my personal issue that if I present a problem to somebody, I would like to present a possible solution for you all to consider. And if I may hold up this map just to kind of show you the phase 2 drawing. This is where we see the problem with the parking. If this is extended out. I don't know if you got this area here. What I would propose to you is that move that parking area over here to the east side of the ball fields along that fence line. We would eliminate the possibility of conflict for bingo, for special events that we have at the Legion. It wouldn't require us to try to coordinate things with the Little League people during the summer. And really, like I said, just really to avoid any conflict that might come up. I don't want to be the parking lot cop, and I'm not sure how the police department feels about it. I don't know how involved you want to get with disputes, because I could see it really escalating into something not very fun for anybody. And we don't want to get anybody hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so, and somebody gets blocked off in there, they're going to come inside the building and try to get somebody to move their car, and then everything gets disrupted.
Thank you, and we'll take that into consideration.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can you hear me now?
All right, does anybody else? Yes,
Yes, I'm Pete Bill, I'm Legion also, and I just want to reiterate that I had numerous conversations with Jay and Randy over the years about this. We had an expectation that in return for our donated land, we would have protected parking. We don't own it or anything, but we'd have a priority here, and that the city would also put up signs to that effect. That was the only expense the city would incur. And nobody's mentioned yet that the barbecue people behind us, they use about a third of that parking lot that you're taking away. I don't know where they're gonna go, and it's probably gonna cause problems for the guy with the heating and air. When there's too many people, they're gonna go over and park in his lot, he doesn't like that. So we're not trying to stir up trouble, we're just trying to say, wait a minute. We're gonna have a problem if you go according to that drawing right there.
thank you, Pete. Anyone else?
Good evening, Alan Meyer, 15895 Lakeshore Drive. Just to reiterate what they said about parking. Last Friday night, was out with Jan. We went down there. I counted 68 cars and they said it was a short night. So there is a basis for the 80 cars. At the same time, during the summer, as I was able to attend ball games out at Cottonwood, and I was walking from the front door of Cottonwood to get to ball fields, I was able to count 185 cars to take care of 4 fields during the transition between the 6 o'clock game and the 8 o'clock game. If you came to an 8 o'clock game and you didn't get there early, you were parking in front of Cottonwood. So that would mean that you would need someplace between 90 and 100 spaces just for these 2 ball fields during the transition between the first game and the second game. Then you throw in the Legion, now you're going to need a 200 car parking lot. And I can't get 200 cars on that drawing. So again, I don't think the parking is adequate. Nowhere on that drawing is identified whether that parking is asphalt or gravel. Nowhere in any of the specifications that I read from last Tuesday's meeting does identify whether it's number of spaces or gravel or asphalt. In regards to access, there's a real problem with Delaware Street. And Delaware Street is not in the budget. There's no improvements in that proposal from Mammoth last Tuesday for any infrastructure. Now, I don't know where that money's gonna come from, but somebody's gonna have to come up with some more money to put this thing in place. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with 2 ball fields with minimal parking, no access, and a few other things. As I read through over the weekend, the construction documents that you got from Mammoth back in January, as well as what they furnished you with the other night, they are not of the same family. They don't relate to each other. What you received the other evening does not follow what was in the documents you got in January. There should have been an amendment, number 1, that designated what was going to happen in the piece that you're getting ready to approve. There were some technical items in that first contract. One of them is, it is a design build agreement with a cost of the work plus a 7% fee. Now, I only read what's in the documents. That was not discussed at last night's meeting. There was nothing in there about what the price was other than the price, how it was structured, what's in, what's out from a technical standpoint. And then in January, there's a whole other section on this, on phase 2. Well, phase 2, I believe has a price tag of 3.7 million. Phase 2, pardon, Dave? Okay, phase 2 is for the improvements to field 1 and 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, the existing fields east of 6, the Stone Stadium and its reconstruction, and other site requirements that are not identified. So under phase 1 or phase 2, there is no mention of bathrooms or concession stand. Now, I know how I want my grandkids treated, and I'll be honest with you, there's nothing enjoyable about sending your 8-year-old granddaughter to a porta pot at 9 o'clock at night after it's been used for 2 ball games. And I don't see any way that should move forward if you're not going to build a concession stand, nice bathrooms, cleanable bathrooms, covered seating and patio area, so that you can go get your hot dog, you can go sit in the shade, you eat your hot dog, and I'll get done. But the point is, the project is incomplete and inadequately funded, and the timeline is not correct. So I think it needs to step back, figure out how you're going to finish this, because all you're going to do is start it.
Thank you, Alan. Anyone else? Okay,
I'd like to say something. I'd like to say that I agree with Alan wholeheartedly. I don't think they have ever told us how many parking spots there were gonna be on this diagram. They never did tell us. And they said, one thing they said last week was to replace the turf. I don't know if it was on both fields or just one field, it would be $300,000 to replace the turf on one field or 2 fields. I don't know if it was 1 or 2. It's 2 fields. So it'd be $300,000 to replace the turf on 2 fields. And the lifetime of most turf is 10 to 12 years max. So with that, we're gonna have a savings account, the city is, and we're gonna have to put about $30,000 a year into that savings account to pay for this turf repair at the end of 10 years. There's just, that's just one of the things, but I don't know if they even have sidewalks on this contract that we have. I thought the contract was what is the fence line on the 2 fields? they said maybe 220, but they,
220 on the center field and 200 on
It's-
left and right.
okay. But there's no restrooms, no concession stand.
Okay,
Which
so
we have
can I
reason
get
for
to
that.
the
Who's gonna
memo
pay
and then
for
we'll
that?
address all?
Yeah,
okay.
Let me get to the memo,
Okay.
thank you.
And Connor is on the call.
Yeah,
if-
Connor Harris is on the call with me as well, so when we have questions, he can address them. So let's get to the memo real quick, because we're gonna go way off in a minute. All right, so this proposal for scope of work clarification, which is an amendment to the agreement that we are going through, is for 2 artificial fields north of Wallace Park Drive. The engineering investigation work and the design have already been done, which is what we approved in January. So this would be the scope of work, the site work, let's see here, the construction or conversion of the 2 new fields, the artificial turf, as well as the artificial turf maintenance equipment and training that goes into that. The 2 main things I want to highlight that would be different from the clarification that we got at the work study and that you have in front of you today is that item 4, under potential costs that may occurred after. Mike Welter expressed his concerns with the parking. So we got a hold of Mammoth and they said that they will work with us to design an access drive for the parking to try to alleviate some of that. The design fee will be included in the original design. They won't charge us for that. Our construction costs might increase a little bit, but with us taking the sales tax money out of the total, we will have more than enough, they said. So we're gonna work with the design to try to alleviate some of that, have a better access for you guys to the parking.
If I may,
No, this is not a quick hearing, please let me finish. So the total cost is now $2,565,000 and $628. I'm sorry, that was a hot mess.
And that's what's on the new sheet.
Yes, and that was on the new sheet. I do have Connor Harris on here with me, and if there are any additional questions. The clarification that you have with you has everything that we discussed at the meeting, that has everything that's included. That's including, dugout pitching rubbers, bases, home plates, scoreboards, foul poles, backstops, everything that essentially, I think the term we used was turnkey to get up and running. So if there are any questions for Connor, please let me know and we can have him unmute himself to have a discussion. Thank you.
I'd like somebody to say whether they can hear me or not.
We can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Connor, can you clarify that 300,000 to 400,000 amount you gave us the other night was for 2 fields?
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so typically the average lifespan of a field is going to be anywhere from 10 to 12 years. And that's going to be 300,000 to 400,000 per field when you do a rip and replacement, taking off the old turf, putting the new turf on. So that would be per field.
Okay,
What? How much per field?
300 to 400, the number that we got the other night
300,000 to 400,000
per field.
per field?
Yes.
You said a while ago, it's for both fields.
Well, we got clarification. It's
Yeah,
for,
that's why.
So 300 to 400,000
per field.
for one field to replace the turf.
Yes.
Well, so we just upped the amount we're gonna have to put in savings for the 10 years. It'll be more like 60,000 a year you're gonna have to save.
Kind of like we do for the pool every year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need another noose around our neck.
Is there something? Because you guys said you're gonna train us, I'm talking to Connor again, on maintenance, and there's something that we can do for high traffic areas to help longevity. Is that correct?
Yes, so in our proposal, we have maintenance equipment that we will provide for you guys. We will train your maintenance staff to use that equipment on the turf field. And then for those high wear areas, we'll also leave infill, so your rubber and sand, and show you guys how to use that after games, practices, things like that on those high wear areas. So your pitching mounds, batter's box, second, third base, kind of those high traffic areas. And we'll show you how to just kind of replace that infill. Again, your maintenance is going to be maybe 10, 15 minutes at most. So very, very minimal.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Randy or Connor or comments or anything? I would like to say, I know concessions and restrooms were also one of my concerns. Part of the reason that we've left that out of this first phase is because we're hoping to secure grants and different things for that. And there are working restrooms down there. They're not the Taj Mahal right now, but we're hoping to get those cleaned up and improved and use what we have down there already. So we do have those on our radar. They intentionally weren't left on this bid because we're hoping to secure funding from other areas. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
correct, they do work, correct? They're just not being used. Okay.
yeah.
Take care of it.
Anybody else have anything?
That's a lot of money to be hoping for.
It is. And part of my concern when we started this initial process and talking about the cost of the ball fields, when we started looking at a fourplex, and I think the initial cost was between 6 and 8 million, and the overall sales tax, we're projecting to bring in between 12 and 15 million. Being a city, we have to estimate on the low side of that, hoping for 12 million, knowing that if it's not 12 million, we're still on the hook for that. We have a lot of work to do to the pool. We've got to fund the pool for the next 15 years. So that was part of my concern when we started talking about the initial cost. I think we had always talked about trying to get it around 3 million. And I know we're talking about phase one and phase two. Right now, phase two isn't possible. There's no way we have enough money to do that. I think we all know that. My hope is that we can set enough money aside. I've talked with Randy a couple of times and thrown some numbers together to be able to split up the sales tax, to be able to do improvements to the pool as well as fund it for the next 15 years and still be able to do some work in the ball fields. And we've got the dam to take care of. We've got a lot. And it's like any budget, it's spread very thin. I think my concern is shape of the fields right now is very bad. We've got to do something. We've got a rec commission coming online in January. And I think we need to do something. Is this everything? No. Is it perfect? No. Have we planned for every contingency? No, I don't think we can. But at the end of the day, at least it gives us 2 fields that are multi-purpose for baseball, softball, flag football, and soccer. I understand your concerns about parking. I'm hoping we can work with Mammoth to get those addressed because that is a concern. We don't want to take anything away from you guys. You guys have given a lot to the city and donated a lot, and we really appreciate that. I don't think we have held up our end as far as keeping the parks up to date and spending money. And that's part of why we addressed it with the sales tax that we did. We're trying to do something. We're trying to make improvements. Unfortunately, with the budget we have, we can't make all the improvements we want. That's going to be impossible. If we spent everything on ball fields, we wouldn't have any money for anything else. So we're trying to spread it around as much as we can and still make meaningful improvements. So as far as I'm concerned, I think most of my concerns have been addressed from early on, but we do still have the issue of the restrooms and the concession stand and obviously parking issues to work through as well. But I think it's a good and necessary first step. That's my opinion.
The only comment I'd like to make is I've worked with the Legion numerous times in the past, managing their ball teams and some other stuff and doing fundraisers for them and stuff. We will make sure you're happy with the parking. And as far as the figure on what we were spending on these, we decided over 9 months ago that we would not go over 3.8 million if we went that high, but it would be no higher than that. There was never anyone that wanted to go 6, 9, or $10 million. And the longer we wait, the less our money buys.
Anybody? Kathy, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, If there's no other comments or questions, so the motion would be for this amount on the new sheet, correct? Okay.
Yep.
If not, can I get a motion?
Can you give me the amount again?
It's, on your,
Okay. I make a motion to approve the agreement with Mammoth Construction for $2,565,628 for phase one, ball fields 3 and 4, and parking modifications, and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second.
Mail,
Aye.
Upshaw,
Aye.
Peckman,
no,
Shields,
No,
all right. I get to vote then, which is not ideal in my opinion. I was looking back today through 3 years of research and number crunching and work that we've done for this project, and like Trent said, it's not perfect, but I feel like if we don't do this in Wallace Park, we're still gonna have to do something in Wallace Park. And I felt comfortable with Mammoth reassuring us that our fields will be safe where they're gonna be put. So I'm very comfortable with voting yes. All right.
thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
Okay, set the public hearings to exceed the revenue neutral rate and adopt the 2023 budget.
Okay, prior to formally adopting the budget for the city of Paola 2023, city council must set and conduct 2 public hearings. The first hearing will consider the exceedance of the revenue neutral rate, and then the second will be the adoption of the 2023 budget. The date of the public hearing should be set for September 13th, 2022 to comply with budget law. And once the hearing date is set, the notice will be published in the newspaper at least 10 days prior to the public hearing. And the notice will include both the revenue neutral rate hearing and the budget hearing.
Thank you, ladies and city staff for all you've done to get this budget ready. Does anybody have any other questions for Stephanie or Randy on the budget hearing?
I just wanted to say thank you for your work on the budget. I know we've had quite a few issues come up over the course of the last year. I know you guys have worked really hard on it. I appreciate everybody cutting as much as we can. And I just appreciate the work on it.
And I'll second that.
and I'll third that.
to work together very
Yeah,
well.
we were, yeah, you guys have done a lot. Saved us a lot of headaches by taking them on yourself.
Yeah.
Anybody want to make a motion on that?
Mayor, I move to set the revenue neutral rate public hearing in the 2023 budget public hearing on Tuesday, September 13th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Paola Justice Center.
I'll second.
Mail,
Aye.
Upshaw,
Aye.
Peckman,
Aye.
Shields,
Hi.
All right, thank you. Moving on to amendment to the wholesale water agreement with Rural Water District Number 1.
So as we discussed at the work study meeting, our agreement with Rural Water 1 hasn't been updated since 2014. The 2 conditions that they have are the minimum monthly sum of $1,000 for the first 300 gallon purchase and the rate of $2.67 per 1,000 gallons in excess of 300,000 gallons. Our water fund can no longer support the reduced rates for Rural Water 1. Therefore, the rates for the PO to purchase water have increased, and the agreement with Rural Water 1 has remained the same. PO currently purchases water from the PUA for $8.45 per 1,000 gallons and sells to Rural Water for $2.67 per 1,000 gallons after the 300,000 gallons right now. So we made the proposed amendments to the agreement. You go to the agreement items 1 through 4. So 1 is effective November 1st, 2022 billing. The minimum monthly sum of $1,000 for the first 300,000 will no longer apply. and the billed amount will be directly reflected of the usage. Also effective November 1st, 2022 billing, the rate increase to $5 per 1,000 gallons will be reflected for the usage. And then we decided to step it to have it affect January 1, 2023. The rate will increase to $8.45 per 1,000 gallons, directly reflective of the cost of the city. And then item number 4, in the event that the NDC PUA, this is our PUA, rate increases in the future, the rate of the purchase of water may rise proportionally to the city's cost. This is just simply, we're not trying to make money, we're just trying to break even and not lose any more money to help with our water rate, so.
Do we have any questions?
And we had talked about, so basically, we're roughly losing, we estimated what, 95,000 a year on the water sale, and our contention, as we discussed in the work study, was that if rural water one decides not to agree to this term, that we will still be on the hook for the amount of water that they would normally purchase, but then our take or pay rate recalculates for the following year. So we're only talking about 1 year, and if they decide to go ahead with the agreement, then at least we'll cover it.
Yes.
Anybody else? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the rate adjustment plan for the rural water district number 1 agreement and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second.
Mayo.
Aye.
Upshaw.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Field.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, consider a CUP for 506 North Silver, the U-Haul business.
So at the July 19th planning commission meeting, there was a public hearing in regards to 22 CUP 02. For the U-Haul rental service had to be housed at 506 North Silver. Notifications were mailed to 19 property owners within 200 square feet of the property. Other than the applicant who participated in public hearings, there was no other public comment. Planning commission members made the recommendation for approval based on the following conditions. Lighting shall be cut off fixtures located to minimize impact on adjoining properties. All rental vehicles shall be parked in accordance with the parking setbacks stated in Article 4, Table 4, 110A. There's no limit on the number of vehicles and or trailers so long as parking meets all setback requirements. All rental vehicles shall be parked on a paved hard surface on the west side of the building that takes access from West 3rd Street. The hard surface shall be installed within 12 months of approval of the CUP. The parking lot shall be screened from neighboring residential properties. At any time, the city may institute revocation of the conditional use permit for violations of conditions of approval, expiration, or reasons specified in section 21 to 25 of the land development ordinance. The city shall provide notice to the landowner and public in the same manner as was provided for the establishment of the conditional use permit.
Any other questions? If not, can I get a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 3189, approving a CUP to allow a U-Haul rental service at 506 North Silver for Morris Contracting Incorporated.
I'll second.
Mayo.
Aye.
Upshaw.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Field.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the acknowledgement of the MS submission, which is something we have to do every year.
Yes, so annually we file our financial statement and operating data with the electronic municipal market access system. That was done on August 5th, and I'm obligated to give you notice within 5 days, so you received your memo in your packet. And now the council needs to officially acknowledge that it was done. That just gives us transparency to the investors in the bond market.
There's not any questions, by a motion.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge that in compliance with section 2 of the continuing disclosure policy for the city of Paola, the city clerk did provide to the governing body written confirmation that the 2021 audit report and 2021 operating data for the city of Paola were electronically filed on the electronic municipal market access in the system on August 5th, 2022.
Second.
You didn't even take a breath.
Mayo.
Aye.
Upshaw.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Field.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm tired.
All right. No committees currently like, so don't have any committee reports. All right, on to staff reports. Jessica, do you have anything?
We just had another 5 new home permits come in, so they're still building over there in the months.
Wonderful. That's good. Chief, okay, Kirk? Stephanie, Randy?
Wrap it up.
All right. All right, Dave, do you have anything?
Just a question, are we gaining any on employees hired police or public works?
You're in the same position we were.
We are rolling a summer up into a permanent position, so it's starting to be good.
That's all I have.
Okay, Trent?
Just thanks again for all the work on the budget. I know that was kind of a mess, and I'm hoping that with all of the discussion we've had, that we can continue to move forward and work for the betterment of Paola, kind of like we did with the mass. I know there's been some contentious issues, but I hope we can all continue to get along and work for the betterment of Paola.
Thank you, Trent. Kathy, do you have anything?
Thank you, no.
Leah? No. Nothing? I don't have anything tonight other than, thanks for everyone for all your work on the budget and for the respectful way everyone handled kind of a hot topic tonight. I appreciate that very much. And that's all I have. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Snail,
Aye.
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Stephanie.
No problem.